Hello, one and all, and welcome back to LOE Formula 2. This is now the penultimate ninth round of Season 4 Formula 2 here in Division 1. This round comes to you from Paul Ricard, the French round of the season, and with the championship hanging on a knife edge, it could well be decided at this very round with just 4 races to go in the season. To take you through the action out on track tonight, it is myself, Daniel Hoggard, and alongside me in the commentary box is, as it has been for the last week now, and he is here for a second time round, it is Mr. Lenny Savo, otherwise known as Spag. Lenny, how you doing, mate?
Yeah, not too bad. Obviously, once again, another round of F2. Last week was absolutely a joy to watch, really, and filled us with a lot of action. Obviously, top 4 cars, actually no, top 3 cars all had poor finishes in the sprint race. So you never know what could happen. Everything just got thrown up in that race, and people like Larkin could really punch a gap to the likes of Campbell. Then obviously there's only a 1-point difference there. But obviously here in Le Castellet, in France, the south of France, anything can happen. That tight, twisty final sector with all the understeer, we could see anything happen here.
Yeah, there's definitely a huge variety of outcomes that could come from tonight. You did mention some of the championship standings. Well, this could be a championship defining day. We're going to have to wait and see. Now, there's only 2 cars that realistically I'd say still have a championship shot, and they are, of course, your defending 2-time champion and current championship leader Toxic MML, and behind him in the standings is QVR Verstappen. Currently Toxic holds 260 points compared to Verstappen's 217. And after this round, Lenny, they're only going to see, I believe it's 46 points for an absolutely perfect round. That's getting both fastest laps, pole position, and both race wins. And so after this round, there'll be only 46 points on offer as it stands. And currently the gap between Toxic and Verstappen sits at, I believe, 43 points. So Verstappen needs a big round here. Needs to be realistic, he needs to close that gap, but of course he can't afford to be outscored by Toxic. Otherwise, Toxic will surely wrap up this championship with a win tonight. But of course, the pressure on the pair of them. But Toxic, I'd say now, certainly has one hand on that championship trophy.
Yeah, exactly. The only way that Toxic is realistically going to lose his championship is with a Toxic-esque F1 bottle. Yeah, exactly. But to be fair, seeing his consistency, it's very rarely that he doesn't score. He hasn't had a blank yet. He hasn't had a DNF of such. So I don't see why not he could clinch the championship tonight. But as F2 and F1 and any racing spec series will let you know that anything can happen, and obviously championships can get absolutely spun on their head.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that, and we'll see if because all it takes is one bad race to dramatically swing this. It could take one great race for Verstappen, one bad race for Toxic, and all of a sudden that playing field gets significantly leveled. Verstappen has been closing the gap. He scored ever so slightly higher at the last round, but he hasn't closed to the extent that I think he needs to. He's been picking up podiums more regularly, as Toxic hasn't had that dominance over the field in the last few rounds that he should up at the start of the season, and the podiums have become much more sporadic. And so he's certainly now the woods. We're now getting into it as I'm just looking now, we have 3 spectators apparently. Autogear Nolan is in spectate, that's very odd, but hopefully he realises this, otherwise he's not going to get a chance of racing out there on track. And there he goes eventually. So now we can get it underway. He's still not selected his car, quick Nolan, but now we're going to get into this.
Oh, he's done it!
He's done it. There we go. We're going to get this underway. But now, one-shot quali. First up here, Lenny. We'll see how this goes, because although France on the game isn't a particularly difficult track to overtake at, I'd say that he's definitely always one way qualifying up the front, especially as in that midfield. The run through those first few corners can get very, very tight down there.
Yeah, exactly. Quite a few crashes you see through turn 1 and turn 2. A few, hit with the back tyre on the front tyre. There's always a chance for an incident in the first few corners. Obviously, in normal F1 as well, there's chances that in the midfield there could be a few front wings lost and stuff like that. But I'm sure with all the understeer that they have, they are going to be in some kind of havoc, just keeping the car on the track in the first few corners. But obviously, overtaking can happen, but it's just going to be very hard to do.
Well, let's see, first of all, how the grid is going to fall. This circuit boasts 15 corners. We'll see who is able to navigate those turns in the best fashion. Now we prepare to get one-shot qualifying underway for the 9th time this season. Who's going to find themselves up at the front of the qualifying grid? We're just waiting for XL Lando to ready up now. We are going to watch QVR Charlie put in a little request, I think, to watch him along. So let's see what he can do now. Heading into the first corner on the flying lap, then heading through turn 1 and out through turn 2, then opening up the exit and powering out now, going down towards the end of the first sector. You're going to be on the brakes again then. In a turn 3 entry, you're critical then. Get as much of the curb as you possibly can round here, and then opening up that turn 5 then. Exit over here, get critical then. Try get on that throttle early. Now, through turn 6 and unwinds, and then you're onto the throttle. You should be just about flat going through turn 7 and then onto the Mistral straight, then getting up to the highest speed you'll see on the entire track. Wet DRS now open as you prepare yourselves for the chicane in the middle that splits this straight into onto the brakes and onto the curb on the outside. You can see Chilton missing the apex ever so slightly, trying to get himself back online and on the throttle again. That's this time coming out over turn 9 and through the exit. Then you're onto the straight, powering down, full throttle. Now you prepare yourselves for turn 10, which is easy flat in Formula 1 cars. In Formula 2 cars, they have enough of the tank to get round as well. Now in turn 11, you're approaching this third sector. Again, up towards the outside, then scoot it back into the inside. You critical that you meet that apex and then get back to the right hand side of the track for the left-hander of turn 12. Early on the throttle, but make sure you're modulating it, keeping it nice and clean. Now you look towards the final few corners on the track. Turn 14 now, and again just unwinds and unwinds, testing the patience of the drivers. Then into the final turn, then a turn 15 onto the throttle and opening up that DRS. Then QVR Chilton to the line, looking further up the road though. It is going to be Toxic on pole by the smallest of margins. He was a few hundredths ahead of, I believe that was XL Lando alongside him on the front row, but Toxic, 2 extra points, another pole position. He's now another step closer to the championship. He's in a great position to clinch it now with that pole.
Yeah, one massive headliner from that is QVR Verstappen in P5, obviously nowhere near his championship rival, not on the front 2 rows. So that's going to be something interesting to look out for. Obviously, his teammates nowhere near to be seen. So he's just going to have to do it on pure pace if he's going to get anywhere closer to the top of the grid then.
Yeah, running through the results then, Toxic does get that pole 300th clear of Lando. Arthur Zhao Zhao, who is a very successful driver in the top division in the F1 leagues, making his debut here in F2 and also impressing on the second row. Campbell just in behind. Bit of a gap down there. Verstappen is P5, Rocco on the third row alongside him, Matt T40, Larkin, Miami, Tin Can round out the top 10. And then outside the top 10, you got Sweet Crown, Noon, Chill, Zerima. Nolan didn't get a lap time in the top 12, covered by just under a second. Toxic, 2 priceless points to go forward, and of course he'll have Lando alongside him. But Zhao Zhao, considering the lack of experience in his cars, great running at P3. He's a threat going into this feature race.
Yeah, obviously he's got nothing to lose, so why not absolutely just send it down to turn 1? Obviously he's got common sense, but you know, a little bit of disruption would be nice for the viewers to watch.
We'll see if that's what's going to come through. We're of course now getting ready to load in to our race here. Of course, formation lap's going to be first up. Going to be interesting to see what the tyre choices are going to be. France isn't in a particularly high or low deck circuit. I think it's pretty average, so we'll see how that's going to unfold. Toxic with that pole, and we'll see if Lando can outjump him. Of course, these two have had some battles in some of the feature races throughout this season. It's just been Lando's consistency that's let him down throughout this championship campaign. He could have maybe brought the fight to Toxic, hasn't quite come through. Now we are of course getting everything readied up, raring to go. There's a driver that I don't recognise that has just joined the lobby. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to get in here and race, but now we set off on the formation lap. We'll see what the tyre choices are going to be, and it's fairly mixed towards the back of the field. Then the front 7 are unanimous in going for the soft tyres. Larkin, Miami, Sweet Crown, Noon, Zynema, not Zynema, sorry, Nolan, going for the hards. And it's going to be interesting there to see how that unfolds, because the hard tyres are going to be significantly slower. That 2-point compound gap is going to really hurt them in the early laps, but the soft tyres might go off that little bit quicker. So we'll see what the auto strategy can run. And interestingly enough, I think it's those guys inside the top 10, the HWAs of Larkin and Miami, going for that alternate strategy. Let's see if it pays off today.
Yeah, obviously, in the final sector, I was just having a look on quality, just completely changing the topic for the strategy. In the final sector, there was much more of a pad sector, as unlike the first two sectors. I saw Verstappen go up around 4 or 5 positions. But one thing to really note is that the top 4 were so separated from anyone else on the grid. Even like the likes of Larkin, even on a different strategy, will he be able to get up to the top of the grid? I don't think he will, because of the how different the top 4 were in times compared to everyone below them. But it sets out to be a very good race with a split strategy.
Yeah, it's going to be a fascinating spectacle to see those guys try and work their way through later on, but certainly, yeah, it's a good point about the top 4. They were well clear up at the front, and I think the gap from Campbell to Verstappen was 0.4 of a second, a pretty significant gap, and there was only a 1/10.5 covering that top 4. So they're going to be going to battle throughout the race. Toxic leading in a way. Of course, the start going to be critical. It's not a particularly long run though, so it's probably going to be easier to hold that race lead for Toxic. You can also defend from the outside at a turn 1. It's quite easy to do, so you can just run that way round. Job done. But Lando's going to throw everything at him, and Jojo and Campbell also wants to watch it. Of course, Jojo on that debut. We'll see what he can do come the race. Toxic's getting them round to the grid. Lando going with him. That's going to be the battle of the front row, but I'm going to come to you quickly, Lenny, before we get underway. What's your top 3 prediction of this race? How do you reckon this one's going to go down?
I'm going to say P1 goes to Lando, P2 goes to Campbell, P3 Zhao Zhao. I'm going to say Toxic has a little bit of a bottle.
Oh, well, that's a very interesting prediction. Let's see if that's going to come through. You did mention the Toxic bottle earlier on, but it hasn't quite been too present this season. He's managed to make the most of all the opportunities that's came to him. Now, 15 drivers now lined up on the grid and just about to go racing. With Toxic entering the field, we build up to 5 lights. And we're away for the feature race here at France. Now for the front of the grid. It looks like Toxic's going away pretty well. Then it's straight to second place behind it. Jojo's going away well. He gets up alongside Lando, but Toxic shooting clear and streaks away into the first corner. They're battling in behind now. Jojo trying to hold on to that second place then. And there's a spinner in the background then. One of the HWAs went right out. That was Larkin dropping to the back of the field. The end plates were flying down there as well. They're battling in that midfield as well. But Toxic leads the way there with Jojo and Lando and behind him. Then you can see also more dueling. That was one of the Tridents working their way around the outside. I think that was Rocco getting in front of Verstappen at the settle back on that start. A lot of jostling in the order. Miami's managed to stay up there on those tires. You can see the still battling to that side of Unknown side by side onto the Mistral straight and running next to each other. But Zydeman will have the grip on the outside lane up the road. Then Campbell on the attack to the outside of Lando, swimming through the P3. Can Campbell get this one done? Stopped at the inside of turn 9, and Lando is off the track. Through goes Campbell, and now you got Rocco and Verstappen heading the rear wing, and the Dams are looking to try and find a way through. That was brilliant from Campbell. Got the move done. Rocco down to the outside, and Lando offline on the old check up through turn 10. Hardly got away without damage. Looks like getting a whole station. That was a scary move for these guys, but somehow I think they're all still pointing in the right direction, and that car's still intact.
Yeah, not the best first lap from Verstappen. He obviously needs to get forward if he's going to challenge in this championship then in the final four races here then. And it's not been the best start. Obviously down 1 position. Rocco's got past him. And fair play to Zhao Zhao, already up to P2. And he's just done what he needs to do in this first lap. He's got the first corner right. And obviously a different kind of thing from qualifying is, oh my god, Lando is weaving all over the place, as now Rocco's going side by side with him.
I think there was oversteer off of turn 15 for Lando. That's giving Rocco the opportunity. He's trying to springboard assault round the outside of turn 1. Lando's going to cover that one off though. Hold the inside line. How's the exit for Rocco? It's no good at Ashley Verstappen with a great run in behind for the high tech. Pulling to the inside line, looking for it. In a turn 3. Gets alongside, diving daringly on the brakes. He's going to run away, but he gets the move done. Verstappen recovering as he needs to keep his championship hopes alive. He's through ahead of Rocco. Took advantage of Rocco's poor run in a turn 2. Now he's up to 5th, trying to chase down Lando at 4th, but Verstappen with Toxic pulling clear at the front there. 9/10's clear. Verstappen needs to move up even further. 5th place is not doing it for him so far.
Looks like there's been a little bit of an incident with Chill there. Chill's gone way off the track in the back of the field. It seemed like Tin Can's also had a little bit of an off with him, potentially a little bit of contact between the two of them. But Verstappen looks way more confident than Lando ahead of him. Lando already picking up a 3-second time penalty, which is just going to help Verstappen's motivation out in the opening few laps.
We've also got sorry.
Yeah, go on, keep going.
Matthew Forte, yeah, he's attacking Exxon Miami. He's holding the back of the hard tyres. He's looking at the outside line now, which is risky, but can he find the grip to go all the way around? He's running out wide, and Sweet Crown now gets alongside in the MP. Doesn't quite get through though, and they hold station, hold in formation for the moment. But yes, Verstappen will see that Lando struggling up in front, and now he needs to try and chase down, and a penalty for Lando costs him at the moment. The top three looking comfortable then. Zhou is just about staying in range of Toxic's DRS when it's activated on the next lap. Can he find a little bit more to stay within that range? Campbell is going to look to try and punish him if he drops that back. The gap still hovering 9/10 of a second. Toxic giving everything to extend that gap at the front, and Rocco still looking pretty quick. Verstappen's pace isn't actually that impressive, and now Rocco is outing him. He's eager to reclaim that place, and he lost a lap ago, but still too far away. Got more balance further down the order than Tin Can, moving past a stranded XL9 on those hard tyres. He doesn't quite have the grip to hold on, and so it's battles galore here throughout the field. Matthew Forte still right with Miami, and Miami, to his credit, is keeping these guys in front pretty honest and staying within range for when those soft tyres are going to wear out. That could really spell better fortunes for him. And look at though, Matthew over the HWA. Matt looks like he's got some good pace here for Chiru. He opens up the DRS to the inside lane. He's going to go down the Mistral Straight, draws alongside and through to the inside. Matthew Forte up in a P7. Can he chase down the group in front? Rock will still wait with Verstappen, and Zhou trying to hang on to Toxic. Toxic is stretching him all the way, but Zhou just about staying with it then. The gap 9/10 of a second. It hangs on a knife edge. Zhou just one mistake is dropping out of range, and then Toxic can focus on his own race up at the front.
Yeah, one thing that was completely needed for Zhou was the fact that he did get the DRS that lap by just about under half a tenth of a second. Crucial for his race if he wants to get anywhere near Toxic in the middle of this race. And just gone over a second now, and then it seems like he's now flying away. It's around that 9/10, 1 second mark. If he can hold it on for as long as possible, he's going to have a good chance of stealing it away. But for now, as Campbell comes into the pits early.
Yeah, Campbell going for a big undercut, then there's some cars in to follow him. Lando in, Verstappen, Matthew Forte, they're all going in then, so it's actually the minority that are staying out here. And Toxic powering away then, Giorgio doing everything to stay with him. Campbell, how's the stop here? There's cars that are going to be moving through as he's getting this tyre change in. Is he going to get out fine? I think he was held very slightly, but he is going to emerge just fine. And up the road then, he got chilling, Nolan battling side by side through turn one. Charter to go all the way around the outside, gets the move done in turn two. Brilliant from Chilling. Now he's on the recovery drive then, trying to move up, looking out to the guys coming out the pit lane then. Campbell is away and clear, and he's got a good gap over Lando. Verstappen is following through Matthew Forte a few seconds further back. Then Lando's penalty though is still working against him. Sweet Crown now chasing down Miami then. The battle of the hard runners is getting very tasty and very tight up there at the front of the race. But also watch out for Zanua. He's showing good progress actually from the rear of the field, is making his way through, but Sweet Crown now gets alongside Miami, and they're going to battle for the apex and turn A. Who's going to reach there first? Miami sweeping back around the outside, and Sweet Crown nearly goes around. Zanima now trying to get up and alongside. He tries to get through, but he doesn't quite have the grip, doesn't quite have the traction. Lando another penalty. Oh my word, Lenny, he's in a miserable spot now in this race. There's so many cars within range. Lando, those penalties costing him dearly. Verstappen's moving up, Matt's moving up as well. Zanima now trying to get past Sweet Crown. He's looking to the inside. Turn 11 just gets a wheel alongside with more grip on the inner lane, trying to get through. Sweet Crown knows not giving up without a fight, and he goes for the apex at turn 12 with his nose in front, trying to go round the outside. There's Lando's going off, I think, down there at turn 9. Lando up again. He's had a miserable race from such good qualifying. Lando's feature race is really falling away here.
Yeah, obviously that's not going to benefit him at all in the sprint race if he's going to get any points there. As now most people, everyone on the softs has now gone to the hards. The question is there a good undercut or not? We just need to have a look at where Campbell is in reference to where Toxic is. It's just going to be interesting if there is a real crossover point so early on in this race. I thought it would have come a little bit later, but let's have a look then. Out of the pits now, Toxic comes. Campbell coming up the main straight now. Is it going to be a side-by-side or is he's clear ahead? but it seems like potentially Campbell could get closer to Jow Jow. It's around about a second, but Jow Jow has closed up to Toxic, only 0.8 of a second. He was out of that DRS before the pit stop, and looks like he's back in it now.
But look at this, and the overcars worked brilliantly for Rocco. He's battling away with Verstappen, trying to keep the touch from behind. He looks right outside. That one is covered off. But it looked like the soft tires still had enough grip within them on that last lap to be able to mitigate the effects of coming in that one lap earlier. Still the battle for DRS between Toxic, Jojo Rangers on that Campbell, trying to get within it. And as he got DRS, he's just missed out, I think, by hundreds, maybe even thousands of a second. Still, Verstappen on the back of Rocco. He's got an outside chance here of maybe grabbing a podium if one of the guys in front gets a penalty, but still, he is isolated. He is stuck on the rear wing of NSX Rocco, who's keeping behind. Now Chill on Zerma to the inside of turn 8. Chill also recovering well, but he's got gaps to make up on the cars in front of him. But he does get through on Zerma, up in a 12th place. The undercut not quite so powerful. Rocco in front of Verstappen. Rocco's having a great little feature race in 4th place at the moment, but Verstappen's going to run at him. He is not going to let this one slide easily. Verstappen attacking Rocco. Can he get through though?
Jow Jow 3 seconds. That is important. That is important for Verstappen's championship hopes. He needs to stay. He doesn't have 3 seconds. He's way more than 3 seconds behind. So Verstappen probably knows that now. And is now going to have to really push if he's got any chance now. And that's a potential podium if he can get within 3 seconds. But that gap is just getting bigger and bigger as each lap progresses, and I can't see Verstappen getting past. He has so much understeer on that car compared to Rocco. Potentially the dirty air is not helping at all with that, but he runs so wide out of turn 6 and he has to lift off into 7 just before the Mistral straight. Really doesn't help him at all.
Yeah, and of course that dirty air really holding it back, especially through the high speed corners here to open up the lap. Rocco's able to maintain his advantage going through there. Close bad love in the front actually for the race lead. Sweet Crown now, second time with Vasquez. Can he get to past Miami this time? Gets alongside now to the inside lane of the turn 8. Can he convert on the brakes? Still Miami fighting for the outside, but he's out wide this time. Sweet Crown at last gets the race lead. He's a leading hard runner out there now, and he's going to be one to watch on the softs come the end of the race if he can keep this charge going, as now Verstappen with a penalty. It just continues to slip away now. He's sitting on the back of Rocco to the inside lane. He's getting desperate, but no! Rocco covers it off. Now a penalty for Verstappen sitting it back. Matthew Forrest in range. And Verstappen now, he might get on a good position for the sprint race as it stands, but right now he's dropping so many points. Toxic may well be over clinching the championship now. He's way in front now in this race.
Yeah, Verstappen's right on the back of Rocco now. It's literally up in his gearbox territory, where it gets almost unviewable for viewers. But Lando picking up another penalty. He's really not liking Le Castellet today then. But Verstappen, he needs to get past Rocco. But Rocco, that is the largest trident you will ever see at the moment, as Rocco's defending for his life. So it's almost like a little bit of Rocco Toxic alliance here, because it just seems like he's not giving up that position for the world.
And well, better news for Verstappen. Of course, Matthew Forte behind just picked up a penalty, so he is out of that range. Up the road, Campbell fastest lap. His pace looks really strong here, Lenny. Zhao Zhao's maintained about the same gap to Toxic, but Campbell has got within that DRS and is now plugging away. And look at RFR. Zhao Zhao now has a net P2 for the moment, and he can maybe try and fight his teammate for the net race win. If he can maybe get away through out there on the road, then he's got some ground to make up. But can he pull this out? Zhao Zhao though gets a brilliant run going through turns 5 and 6, and Campbell just cannot quite match it, dropping back then, going through that slower speed section of the track. I think he's just a bit too far away. QB over Verstappen now is adamant that he gets past Rocco. Look at the gap opening up. It was 3 seconds a few laps ago. Now it's 5 seconds. The gulf in pace between the top 3 and the rest of the field is coming through here. And so far Verstappen still bottleneck behind NSX Rocco then, looking for a way through, but even if he does get through, Rocco is still clean. No penalties to his name. He's on for 4th at the moment. Campbell is right there with Zhao Zhao now, trying to get through. Campbell on the charge. He's got older tires underneath him, but that doesn't seem to be phasing him. Campbell flying now through. The question is, can he get these moves done? Can he potentially try and fight Toxic for that race win?
Yeah, I'm just having a look as well on near the back of the pack now with Zaldo and Chill. They're having a really good battle in behind here, coming through the whole Mistral straight. They haven't been out of 5/10 of each other as they now come through the final sector once again. Another little battle that we need to focus on. Obviously, Constructors a little bit as with Chill obviously being Verstappen's teammate. With Chill being Verstappen's teammate, excuse me, he's been carrying him. So for Chill to stay in that high tech, he's going to have to get some points on the board, and he needs to show that he is worthy of that seat. And at the moment, he's doing a good job holding behind Zaldemar.
Yes, certainly, and of course that defence is going to certainly get any points on the board that are necessary. Up the road a little bit, then Verstappen is Toxic against the penalty, and that now puts the race in the hands of QPR. Campbell behind him, he's caught up to Larkin. Larkin's had a miserable race so far. I think he picked up some damage, or he went round actually on the first corner, and that's why he's so far back. And now Toxic with DRS is closing him down. Campbell now looking at Jojo to the inside lane. The turn is very brave and bold on the brakes. He's going to get through. Campbell, what a race he's having, and now Verstappen to the inside of Rocco. Can he get through this time? Rocco is still fading it back to the outside of turn 9. He gets a good exit as Rocco. The battle is not done just yet. Verstappen's going to have to cover him off here, because now the Triton is trying to come at him. To the outside he looks, in a turn 10, but can't quite get alongside him. Verstappen just about covering him off, and through turn 10 he'll hang on to it. Further down the road, Chill and Zaldemar still going at it. Zaldemar stuck on the outside line, and Lando as well trying to find a gap there as well. Then Zaldemar running round turn 10, trying to get through and alongside Chill. Chill still holding the line into 11, and Zaldemar running right around the outside of the Colin. Can he sweep the long way round? Look at Lando, he makes it 3 abreast on the inside line. He gets one, and now he's looking for 2, but Zaldemar fights back, getting alongside the Dabs Garden. He runs into the back of the high take this Lando, and now Zaldemar back up and alongside. That's superb racing then. Lando with a good run, trying alongside Chill. Chill's going to run wide, covering him off. Then they make a little bit of contact then. Toxic moves past Larkin up the road, but I cannot look away from this battle then. Now, out of the last corner, Lando per traction is going to gift maybe Zaldemar running the inside line, but both these guys on DRS on Chill up ahead, and now they're all going to fight for the same piece of tarmac then. And now to the inside line, Zaldemar, but Lando stuck in the inside, runs off the track. Lando off the road, and he's going to cut straight across and get a position on the road then. He gets, yeah, I don't know, that's a very peculiar line. I think Lando has a whole host of penalties in this race, so it doesn't really matter. Lando getting through in rather odd fashion. He's pulled 2 seconds out there. Tin Can getting a penalty now down the back of the field. He's also had a horrible race. Then a random driver's gone out, and now Campbell attacking Larkin to the outside of turn 8. He goes straight brave on the brakes, and he'll get through this time. Campbell has a race win in hand. This could be his 3rd feature race victory in 5 races. Run of form has been electric. Now Jojo trying to get up to Larkin as well. Looking to the inside lane, it's Adam, and he gets through to keep himself in the fight then. He sets up behind the HWA and a turn 10. As he going to the inside lane at turn 11, the inside by Larkin, he runs out wide, and now Jojo with a tire line with more grip, fresher tires, gets alongside again in the Prema, but Larkin fades back, and he has the inside of turn 12. Can Jojo sweep around? Not quite, I think, but the undercut, look at the switchback and the grip on Ace. Larkin's front wing damage holding him back to the inside line. Now Jojo is at last going to get through. Larkin bails out to the pit lane. Jojo, what a fight. He got through, but he's lost time. Now Campbell up in front of him, almost no threat from behind, and now just has to stay with it. Toxic. Campbell has another feature race win in sight here.
Yeah, what a move by Jar Jar there. Obviously going straight on the switchback move, the switcheroo as David Croft would call it. And what a move it was. So close to the gearbox of Larkin there, and he's timed it perfectly. And still in the DRS of Campbell, that was a move that needed to be made. As once again, some things that happen in this world. Lando's picked up another penalty.
He has 35 seconds of penalties, oh my word. That is, he must be bordering disqualification at this point, and I'm surprised that he hasn't just quit the race then and there. Maybe he's challenging himself to get as many penalties as possible. I'm not sure. The boost I've seen in the race without being disqualified is 38 seconds. Go get it, Lando. But further down the road, we've still got this battle here between Zaldemar and Chill. They're going at it. Now Chill's the one with the run on Zaldemar now. Zaldemar going through in the last lap, but now Chill strikes back to the inside line. Trying trying to get through now with the Superior run into the corner. Will cruise up the road and now Jojo is actually getting back up to Campbell. Campbell's not out of the woods just yet, and Toxic is just inching away up front, so that's not over either then. Campbell's going to have to work for this one. There's still 5 laps to go up at the front now. Sweet Crown and Miami coming in, and these guys are now going to be ones to watch. Fresh soft tires going on. Where do they emerge from the pit lane, and how far forward can they fight in the final few laps here at France?
Yeah, I feel like they could be around Verstappen territory by the end of the race, but it's going to need something pretty amazing from them, pretty spectacular, if they're going to make those softs go that quick around this track. When they were pitting off those softs after 3 laps, so surely after about 3 or 4 laps, this Toxic is now flying away. Surely after 3 or 4 laps, those tyres will just die at the end of the race. So if they're going to have to make some grounds, they're going to have to make them quickly. And out of the pit now, Sweet Crown comes.
Yeah, he's on the back of Matt T4. Then a few seconds to make up to the aforementioned Verstappen that you were mentioning, that sort of area in the field. And Tauneman, Jello still battling. And now the pit lane, Noon, oh my word! He comes out flashing 3 ways briefly. Now Noon to the inside lane of his teammate and Zernema stuck on the outside line now as they barrel in a turn 3. Then can Zernema defend for the outside line. He's not letting his teammate through. He is going to fight for this one for P11, but surely Noon with the extra grip could just find a way through it. Heading through turn 5. Up the road there's Jojo now trying to come back, and Campbell running round the outside of turn 8 then goes very deep on the brakes but gets it stopped. Gets through the gap to Toxic, just continues to climb. Now Sweet Crown on Matt to the inside of turn 8. That one is just all too easy. Sweet Crown moving up. How much grip do those soft tires have in? And now Noon cruising past Zernema. Now has Shell all lined up out of turn 8. Look at the extra grip. Look at the extra traction through the exit. Chell will hold on, I think, for just a little while longer. Campbell now in behind Jojo, and Toxic pulling away. Toxic can still do this, even with a penalty. The gap to Campbell, 2.3 seconds. This race hangs on a knife edge. Toxic, even with the penalty, is in with a great chance of the full 25 points here.
Yeah, I think what Campbell did there was almost let Zhao Zhao through. He knew he had very good pace. So I think what he's just hoping for is just to stick on the back of Zhao Zhao. If he makes no mistakes, he's still going to get the win. So I think just without battling is probably the better idea for him. Just not battle. As you see, Zhao Zhao's got the fast lap of the race. He's absolutely flying as well then, keeping well up with Toxic's pace as Campbell was kind of falling off of it. I feel like this is his best chance, just holding the DRS of Zhao Zhao, and he's got a good chance. Let's look at that again. Lando, another penalty.
Oh dear, now he's equalled the record there. It's now XL Noon. Okay, VR Chell. Surely that's one's a foregone conclusion, or is it? Chell going all the way right into the turn 1. I was not expecting that, but the exit is with Noon. And the momentum is with a Colin as well. Then he gets alongside head Chell. A valiant defence, but again he's isolated on the outside line. And this time Noon gets through. Chell gave it everything, but that simply is just a tyre advantage then. An extra grip for XL Noon's going to see him get through then. Ted get another penalty. And yeah, some of these drivers then, Ted Can, Lark and Lando, have had horrible races then. It just really hasn't gone their way in the slightest. We're coming up now with just over 3 laps to go. And Matt T40 now with another penalty. And that could potentially drop into the clutches of some of the drivers behind. As now Yellow's there. There's that Lark.
Quintan.
Ted Can's going off again then, coming out of turn 6. He's also had a horrible race. And fast lap for Lando. He does get something for this race, but he is running a long way off the back. I wonder if Sweet Crown or any other soft runners are able to do this. Toxic out the front. The gap 1.6 seconds. Jojo's pace is phenomenal. And this is helping Campbell then. Jojo coming right back into this race with phenomenal speed on track. He's dragging Campbell with him, and still Campbell has a fighting chance in this race.
Yeah, of course he does, with the slipstream and everything, of course. But he's only got one warning, as I've seen so far. So he just needs to hold back, just make sure he doesn't get another warning, and he's got this wrapped in the bag. Zhao Zhao's closing in. I think he's trying to look for this win in the final few laps. If he can get inside that DRS, he's got a very good chance of getting P2 in this race. And pole on track is Verstappen picks up another 3-second time penalty. That is second of the day. That is, yeah, he's on 6 seconds now, and that's going to really demote him down the grid.
Yeah, certainly Rocco, Street Crown, Arwen and Rage, and probably Miami as well, with just a little bit more pressing in the final few laps. Ted Can is that's in the pit lane. He's had enough of this race then, of course, just did not go his way in the slightest. out there on track. Still looking at XL Miami, and he's got Matt 240 all lined up, and he's in with a chance of maybe P6 in this race, then P7 potentially, if he can try and work his way through it. He has now got Matt 240 all lined up to the inside line. He's going to go there, he's going to have to be on the brakes late, but he's got the momentum going into the zone, and ultimately Matt 240 couldn't hold on to it. Up to the outside he goes. Can he find miraculous traction through the exit? Not quite. Miami now through, and now it's his task to try and get within range and maybe Verstappen up in front then. Matt 240 trying to get back up to Miami. He's got good straight line speed actually, but just runs out of grip, runs out of downforce, and has to lift up then. Coming up with 2 laps to go, Toxic is somewhat responding to Jojo's threat. Jojo is so impressive though. If he puts in a fantastic penultimate lap, he may not be out of this one. And Campbell just has to avoid mistakes and just keep it between the 2 white lines, keep it DRS. Jojo's handing him this win. Jojo's race pace has been phenomenal. He's chasing down Toxic, but I think he may just run out of time here.
Oh, and there you go again, the 36 seconds worth of Lando penalties. He's reaching what the record is that you've seen, Dan. Personally, I've seen 71 seconds worth of penalties, but that is an achievement from Lando. I think he's almost purposefully doing it at this point. But Campbell just needs to stay where he is, and he's going to be fine. He knows what he needs to do. He's quite sensible on track in terms of penalties. I think this is his to lose now.
Well, it certainly has to lose. He's got this in hand. He's 2.1 seconds behind his teammate at the moment. 9-10 says the window. He's got to stay with him without getting that penalty. You mentioned a few laps ago he does have two. He did have one warning to his name, so he's pretty safe, but he just has to remain focused and he can't get complacent. Two warnings to say, so the pressure does mount on the Univirtuosi driver, but Jojo still chasing down Toxic, just a couple more tenths and he is in that DRS range. Now Toxic should have this out on track, but he can't make too many errors, so Jojo's going to be right on him come the last lap. And he doesn't want to give away too much ground here. He still has every point to matter. At the moment, he's got a championship in his hands. But the one advantage that Verstappen has is that Verstappen is going to be finishing probably in P7 now as it stands. It's going to be quite close to Miami right now. But he's going to be starting right up the front of that reverse grid sprint race. So he does have a chance then. As Jojo, he's put a phenomenal run through here. He's within DRS range of Toxic again. He's going to have DRS down the main straight, so can he pull this out then? Toxic, he's still got this in hand on track, but Jojo's going to throw everything at him. Can Toxic hold on to it? Every point matters. Jojo chasing him down, but is he just going to run out of laps here?
Yeah, the guy who races in cockpit, the guy who races on a pad, and the guy who's got auto gears has now got a chance of beating Toxic. The double champion. Look at this. What if he came in early in this season? How more exciting could this have been then? But he's just scraping that 1 second mark, and it looks like he's just outside of it right now. He's back in. It's going to be so close, and if I feel like he may just it's going to be no. I think he's out of it. He's out of it now. Yeah, a Sweet Crown picks up a 3 second. He's just going to be out of it. And I think it's pretty sealed now that on track this is going to be a Toxic win. But unless anything drastic happens, I think Campbell's got this on penalties.
Yeah, he looks content to just follow Jojo through now, all the way to the checkered flag. There's still battles out on track. Then Sweetground's got a penalty, but he's still going to fight Rocco here to the inside then. Heading into turn 8, getting it alongside then. But round the outside, Rocco's going to hold it. He defends through the exit as well. Can Sweetground pick up that slipstream and fight again? Heading into the third sector. To the outside, he's going to go. Does he have a bit more straight line speed in that car? But he's going to back off early. Going into turn 10, and Rocco just about holding on to it. He's got it on penalties anyway, but he's got to make sure he's keeping it clean throughout the conclusion of this lap. Toxic MML, he's put up under a lot of pressure. Jojo's giving him a run, and Campbell's just sat back there, did exactly what he needed to do to close out this race. Now, with just one corner to go, Toxic MML is going to move another step closer towards the championship. He wins it on track, but it is going to be his teammate QVR Campbell that will come through and win the feature race here in France. Toxic P2, a critical P2, Jojo, a great debut in P3. Verstappen crosses fourth, but he'll lose out to Rocco, lose out to Sweetcrown by just 7/10 of a second. Does Miami get there as well? 4/10 is the difference. Verstappen does hold on to P6 in the end. Nolan comes through, he is P8 in the end. Quiet race for Nolan. Matthew 48, Noon. Actually, Chill just peps him in the end with no penalties, getting in front of Noon. Zaunima is P12, Larkin will cross last in P13. Lando's already come across in P14 with a rather large haul of penalties, so fair play to him for that. But after a promising qualifying, I'm sure they've wanted much more. But Campbell, clean victory, and Campbell now has 3 feature race victories, which is tied for the most of the entire season. It's a shame that he didn't pick up the form earlier, because his run of form lately has been absolutely stellar.
Yeah, it's been very good for him. But one thing, obviously, the driver of the day in the game goes to Nolan as Campbell picks up the win. One thing we've got to really note is that Nolan is starting on pole. That is something that is going to be very interesting. That's all I'm going to say, because he can be very defensive, he can be very aggressive, but let's see how he can really go in the sprint race then. But he's got a ferocious pack behind him with someone who's just on his way to clinching a championship.
We'll see how that one's going to unfold there. But yeah, no, I swear in the feature races he races for 8th place. He finds himself there so often. But Campbell wins at Toxic 2nd place. Zhao Zhao P3. Rocco, again, solid enough drive. He's had a really good season as Rocco then, just been maximising his opportunities. Sweet Crown rounds at the top 5 from 11th on the grid. Good drive from Sweet Crown. Verstappen, Miami, Nolan, Matthew 40. Chill round at the top 10. Noon, Zerima, Larkin and Lando just outside of it. Tin Can, we saw that incident then. And then he bowed out into the pit lane, so he has had enough in this race. He'll try and fight back later on. But Nolan, as you mentioned, yep, with that pole position in Miami alongside him, again, those are the 2 drivers that seem to find themselves up the front of the grid pin so often. We'll see how it goes in that sprint race, but those 2 guys are going to have a whole host of incredibly quick drivers trying to chase them down.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be interesting in this, in the... Oh, it's wet. Oh, my.
Oh, my.
And there you go. There's your race that's suited and booted with understeer plus wet at France. Have fun, drivers. Jesus me.
Wow.
Oh dear.
That throws
the first
a real
sector is going.
works.
Yeah. The first sector is going to be absolutely. Oh, it's going to be crazy. Is what it's going to be. Can people time it right on the brakes? People may be running with no line and stuff like that. Have they judged it right? For the braking zone in turn 1, we won't know until we obviously get on the grid. But they've got a formation lap to add a spanner to the works, as you said, Dan. This is going to be one interesting start.
Yeah, certainly, and I believe this is the first example of wet conditions we've had all season long.
What?
But it is not wet enough, because the thing is with F2 is that there's no intermediate compounded tyres, and so everyone's forced onto the hards, and it's hard tyres in greasy conditions. Recipe for disaster. These drivers are going to have so many problems on their hands. The grip is going to be so remarkably low. How on earth are these drivers going to survive this 11-lap race?
I thought, yeah, that's the thing. Obviously, there isn't intermediates. They're going to have to warm up those tyres quite a lot. That's all I'm going to say, because those tyres are going to be as cold as ice. But yeah, just through this first sector, you can see, oh my god, there's just so many opportunities to understand. Obviously, with the lack of grip that these drivers are going to have, it's going to feel like an ice rink out there. And obviously, with the pit lane being so long, I don't think double softs is even an option.
No, I certainly don't think so. I think the drivers are just going to have to brave it out there on the track. And so this is the thing, because obviously these conditions in F1 cars, it's a straight up intermediate race. But here, with wet tyres being just a complete step up, then the track's only damp. There's no standing water out there. The wet tyres aren't going to work. So these guys forced onto hards. And the start could be so unpredictable because these drivers haven't really raced in these sort of conditions this So they're not really, they might be unfamiliar with how to launch the cars. So you could be seeing a lot of drivers get great starts and some drivers having awful starts. It's going to be a real mix-up then. So the grid's going to get thrown up in the air. And certainly this grid order, I can assure you that the 15 car order that you're seeing now will not be the same after the first few corners.
Yeah, one thing I'm just going to say, on the hards in F1 cars off the grid, I'm struggling. In the wet... there is no chance I would get more than 100 meters down. That's all I'm saying.
Well, we'll see if the drivers have a bit more success then. Nolan is going to guide them around to the grid. It's going to be critical these drivers have got temperature in their tyres for this start, because as we've alluded to so many times already, the grip level is going to be so low. Nolan's now leading them round to the grid. Miami alongside him. I'm going to come over to you, Lenny, to run us through the start of the race then. Nolan, Miami, the front row for one of the most probably intriguing races that we've had this season then. From the front, Nolan leads, but I said you're going to see an absolute chaotic run through the first few corners. Take us through it, Lenny. This start is going to be manic.
Yeah, crucial for Verstappen to win this one, as I just completely messed up my words there. But yeah, it's crucial for him to win it and for Toxic to get low points, otherwise he's completely out of it now, as now the last driver of Tin Can is going up to his grid spot, and you can see the spray on his tyres at low speeds. This is going to be an interesting start then, and now we wait for the lights. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights. And it's lights out and away we go at Le Castellet then. Who gets a better start off the line? It's going to be very interesting. It seems like Nolan's had a pretty decent start actually. We could see we see side by side in the midfield as well then. As we go now down into turn 1. Nolan's got the lead. Verstappen's had a very good start as well. Miami in the mix as well. And Toxic up into P5 already. He's fighting already for P3. As we now come down into turns 3, 4 and 5. Then as Toxic now up into P4. He's loving these conditions at the moment, up the inside, trying to get up the inside of Rocco. He's fighting so hard for this, and I don't think he needs to. Let's be realistic here, as we now fly through, well, I can't really say fly, struggle through the next few corners, still side by side action, and it seems like these drivers, oh, as one goes off, that's Noon off, Noon's into the wall, and that's his front wing gone. Side-by-side action with Campbell and Matt as well. Then Campbell obviously not been advancing from his grid position. And oh my god, up ahead, there is so much action. Side-by-side action with Toxic in P5 still with Miami and Rocco. Rocco's lost it a little bit, and that allows Toxic to get back past for P4 then. And this has just been a dream start for Toxic then in the Uni Virtuosi.
Has run off the line with superbly, and he managed to take advantage of a little bit of contact between Rocco and Miami, moving up into P4. Now he has Miami lined up there looking for the podium, and at the moment that would surely wrap up that championship, but there's still so much going on for the deputy order there. Matty 40 and Chill are fighting side by side through turn 11 to 12 now. They are going for it now to the inside. Larkin trying to follow through then, and Matty 40 stuck on the outside line behind Chill. Larkin gets alongside, can't go get through Toxic. Toxic's gone off. Oh my
no.
And it turn 12 and drops to P8. So Toxic down the order. Will that swing it towards Verstappen? Will it be enough? I'm not sure now. But Toxic now down at 8th place then after a dream start. He's brought back. And now as I'm seeing Spinner in the background, and that's Lando off again. Oh no, Lando has just had complete misery going to the pit lane now. Maybe he'll try and get something like wet, or try something even different in this race. JVR Verstappen now with Nolan right in front. Verstappen going for the race. He can't get alongside it at turn 3. Then Nolan's trying to cover him off. Verstappen, he's diving on the brakes. No, not quite. No, holds on to it. But Toxic going off now. But he's attacking his teammate to the inside line. And Campbell just lets it happen. Through goes Toxic to 7th. Now he's got Sweet out in front. Can Toxic recover? That's a rare mistake for the championship leader.
Yeah, obviously his confidence will go completely in that final sector, and it seems like he's already got that confidence back. It only took a sector, and he's right back at home in his F2 car then, and he's trying to push up now towards Sweet Crown, and I'm surprised how much power they can put on so early. On these hard tyres with the lack of grip they have, is Matt and Matt Larkin and Chill are in a massive battle right now then, as they now come down into the chicane then. Verstappen and Nolan also fighting up ahead as well. Oh no, that's Nolan off. I didn't see that, Dan. Please tell me what happened.
Yeah, they got very close to the exit of turn 9, and ultimately no one snapped it, went off there, and now they're all swapping it to the inside. Jojo in a turn 10, that's brave in such a difficult corner in the wet at scary high speeds, but Jojo gets through the P4 there, and Nolan, oh, that's heartbreaking. Slips back to 5th, and now a Sweet Crown trying to attack him as well. Then Nolan dropping back through the order. Can he fight through further in the remaining laps? So that's where he's stepping down. Toxic trying to get up to him, and Campbell's going up. I didn't even realise Campbell, I'm not sure where he dropped that lady, but he drops them in the 13th position. Now Campbell, from a dominant display in that feature race, dropping down. This has been the story of his run in the last few rounds of this championship. Stunning, crushing feature races, followed by heartbreaking falls in the sprint races. Now dropping down in the order in a 13th and out the points. Verstappen now leads us so clearly. Now Sweetcrown alongside Nolan. Nolan dropping back to the field. Now Toxic going down the inside. This is so brave, and the man with the championship hanging in the balance to the inside. Toxic, can he get turn 1 and turn 1? Can he force his way through? He's still got into the 3 wide, and they're making contact all the way through, and somehow they're all still pointing in the right direction. Back goes Sweetcrown. Nolan to the inside line, trying to gain him a Toxic all the way ready as on a turn 3 then, getting forced off the road and cutting across then. Toxic going off. He's going to recover. Gets a 5-second penalty. He gets the possession, but at what cost? Toxic, what a battle. Those guys went at it, almost touching. They were touching all the way throughout turn 2. Toxic going off, and with that penalty, dropping back, give Verstappen, keep this championship fight alive, Lenny.
Well, yeah, that's fundamental to his championship then. Obviously, I'm not sure if they'll go to the shoot after the race as Tin Can picks up a penalty. Toxic now, this is a moral battle to himself. Obviously, he had to really think, does he put on the power and get ahead of those lot? When it comes to 5 seconds, Rocco's off. Ooh. Rocco's off as well then. DRS enabled. I don't know how that's happened then, but Rocco off the track as well. And this is just gifting a few more championship positions that he needs to Toxic to get then. As side by side with Sweetcrown and Nolan. Sweetcrown, I believe, just went round the outside of him. As now on the inside goes Nolan, and no, he's gonna go back on the inside. Oh, he's been hit. Oh no, and he's hit Chill. Oh no, the midfield is getting very hectic at the moment, Dan.
And Larkin is taking advantage of all of this then, going to the inside of Nolan. Nolan trying to fight back for the outside line, and they touch again, and somehow this time they don't go round. But this driver spearing off everywhere at the moment then. Such difficult conditions, and now Nolan trying to go line the inside of Larkin. That one is coming off. Matty 40 now, with Nolan lining up then, trying to get a run maybe off the last corner at turn 15. Fastest lap for Verstappen, he is running clear, but Jojo going faster right behind it. Chill's made an error, and through goes Zerda, but these guys now somehow are using DRS. I have no idea how in these conditions, but it's the rain maybe just easing off actually very slightly, so could it maybe be subsiding, and now the drivers are going to have the opportunity. Grip levels are going to come off, the rain easing off ever so slightly, the conditions improving. Verstappen leading the way at that moment, but the conditions continue to evolve. What a manic race so far, lady. This race has been impossible to call, and even still with the grip conditions being very, very low out there, they're still going to have to wash themselves out there. What a crazy sprint race we're having here at France.
Yeah, the rain has stopped now, so this is just going to benefit the likes of Toxic, who was shining in those in the dry conditions. Campbell may be able to get out the field, but it's just going to be a recovery race for him. I don't think anything will happen as Zhao Miami now battling in Miami is past. Oh, he's lost it on exit. It's now side by side between the two of them, and Zhao is now through into P2 and get ready for the hunt. We knew how quick he was on the hards in the feature race. Can he close up to Verstappen in the sprint then as Miami runs wide out of turn, I believe that's 10. I've completely forgot, as it seems like now Zhao has got that P2 and is now going to be fighting and battling up towards Verstappen in P1.
Yeah, we'll see if they can make that. Those in-rows then, 1.8 seconds to gap with a penalty to his name. Verstappen looks to still have this one in the palm of his hands then. Can he maybe try to extract anything out of this then? You can see actually off the road up in front, that's Larkin now that's going off. And Larkin making the error, but he will just about manage to maintain that P6. But now that's more pressure from Nolan than he would have wanted. And now Nolan trying to follow through from behind as well. Zerwa with Chill just in front, then trying to get through, then sitting behind at the moment. Is that Nolan going off into the final corner? Now Matty 40 and taking advantage. He slips from me, he's got the DRS. Can he run to the outside, heading into turn 1 in? He's going to go the long way round. Can Matt pull this one off? But lay on the brakes is Nolan, and he will cover it off. Matt though, going in for a tight line through turn 1 and turn 2. He gets a good exit. Is it going to be good enough though? Nolan looks to just about have it up and hand as Rocco down the field with a penalty. Rocco having a measurable sprint race after such a good feature race. Now, Matthew 40 can't get through. through. Now Larkin pulling clear at the front, then 9/10 the gap then as Nolan holding back these guys. But look at Matt, Chill, Zerma, even Tin Can are all right with it then, threatening to go through it then. Chill now with a penalty, and Matt trying to get up towards Odegaard. Nolan this time he's got a good run, and now to the inside line. Nolan still has DRS from Larkin in front then, so it's going to make it difficult. Can Matt get alongside him through then? He gets level now, and he to turn in the inside line with Matt. Can Nolan get hold it for the outside? He's going to sweep all the way around now to the inside of turn 9 then. Through goes Nolan, he's going to just hang on to Manova still on the exit, and round he goes. Odegaard Nolan off at a turn 9. Oh, Nolan from a pole position spinning off now outside of the points. Nolan's dropped. Cars have been flying everywhere in this race, Lenny. Nolan now out of the way now. We've had, I think, all but 10 drivers still out of the race at the moment. And Verstappen leaning, but Zhou really meant Zhou looking again for a victory. But how much is that penalty going to cost him in this fight?
Yeah, I've just got to talk about Nolan 0 there. But one thing to really mention is, I'm not sure if you saw it, but fastest lap went to Toxic on the last lap. He is zooming up and closing up to the likes of Miami and Zhou. It is getting very close up at the top once again. Toxic obviously showing his pace once again. Let's have a look. Is it a fastest lap? No, Zhou just takes it seems like, on lap 5, now on lap 6. Halfway through this sprint race then, will Toxic be able to get anywhere closer to these guys ahead? He's already broken 6 seconds, is that? No. Yeah, 6 seconds, and that is already his penalty down the drain there. The Sweet Crown does not benefit from it at all.
Yeah, at the moment, we've also got, so Zhou.
Oh, sorry, it's not 6 seconds, it's 3 seconds, my bad. Sorry, I was looking at leader. Oh, sorry.
Sitting on 13 seconds at the moment, so he's certainly dropping back. But look at the pace that Toxic showing then. Has XL Miami lined up. Zhou trying to close up to QVR Verstappen, but not quite enough just yet. But he's got the pace in, and the full safety car deployed. Chill out then, out of turn 7, and now a full safety car. The field bunches up then. Another spanner in the works, so then Chill out the way now. It's not been the evening you would have hoped for. Chill now out, and all of a sudden the lead that the leaders had has been wiped out, and now the likes of Sweet Crown are right back in this race.
This just helps out Verstappen. Everyone closes up to Toxic. Toxic's got penalties galore. This just helps Verstappen completely. He's got no penalties to his name, and he's got a few laps to just chill, you know, go through the procedures of under a very slow safety car, and then he'll be able to just reset, recover, and do it all again then in the final few laps of the race. Obviously, you'll probably see more aggressive fielding behind, but Verstappen's had an answer to everything so far then.
Yes, but now, of course, he's got that threat from Zhou looming. I wonder if anyone further down the fields maybe look to try and put a set of soft tyres on, have a major grip advantage, as the track still isn't up to full grip, I'd say, just yet. Let's look here. Tin Can's going in and further up the road. Larkin, I believe. No, sorry, that's Matt who's gone in as well then. So Matt, Tin Can in, and so too with Campbell and Noonan behind as well. So we're seeing as well some different strategies. And now soft tyres, that is going to be a major pace advantage for these guys further down the field. We'll get a few laps, maybe about 4 laps of green flag racing to cap off the race. Nolan will be with this race as well. He's carried on in the hards, trying to just get as much ground as he can up the order. We'll get up into 9th. Verstappen's lead wiped out, Zhou with him, but Toxic is going to be losing places there. Hand over press. Those penalties now, with the field bunched up, are going to cost him dearly at the moment. He could be near the back of the field. He's going to need a huge run in the last few laps to be able to get back up there.
Yeah, and obviously with the softs closing in as well, the soft tyres at the end with these four people at the back. Obviously, none of them are slow, so I don't think they're going to be dilly-dallying around at the back of the pack then. We've got Matt, Tin Can, Campbell, obviously the winner of the feature race, and Noon as well, who really showed us I don't think they'll be sitting around. They'll be wanting to attack these guys, to people like Zalda, Larkin, Sweet Crown, and potentially up to the likes of Toxic. Toxic, he's not settled, even if we just take penalties out of it. He's not settled in P4. I can assure you that, with the soft runners closing in. And look, they're only 5 positions in behind Toxic. There's still a chance that they can close up.
Yeah, they're going to need a good restart. They'll get that timing and try and move up early. I'm not sure. I don't think we're going to get racing on this lap, but at the end of lap 8 should be the case. So we will get 3 laps to the checkered flag, and that is what going to be the decisive factor in this race. By the way, just after some calculations, the gap between Toxic and Verstappen heading into this race is 53 points, with only 46 left on offer after this race. So yeah, so certainly there's going to be some Verstappen needs to continue to outscore Toxic by 7 points in this race, and if he wins. If Toxic comes, I believe 5th place in this race will do it for him. But at the moment, that doesn't seem to be the case. He's going to need a huge run, and those penalties could cost him. So if Verstappen can just hold on at the front, at the moment Toxic is not near enough. He's losing too many points in terms of the penalties. That at the moment so far, Verstappen can just about keep this going to the last race.
Yeah, exactly. It's right now. It's the perfect scenario for him. Obviously, the only thing better for him would be a complete crash from Toxic. But what is happening at the moment is all good for Verstappen then in this title fight. Obviously, it may come back to bite him potentially if people get more penalties in behind. Then obviously, I assume quite a few people are on 1 or 2 warnings. Could get some penalties by the end of this race. Could do a Lando and get about 3 penalties a lap, but I don't think that's going to happen. So I feel like it's probably almost safe to say now that with another lap behind the safety car, it's just one lap closer to Verstappen keeping the title fight alive then into the final round.
Yeah, let's see what he could do off this restart. The pressure is still on Verstappen. He's got to try and win this race to guarantee that. And Miami only 2 places behind him. But we saw Verstappen get past Miami earlier on in the race. So you sense that he's maybe just got a little bit more to offer. And now he just needs to try and drive this race home. There is a 13-car fight then. That's going to go all the way to the checkered flag. Safety car in this lap. Now Verstappen will back off, and Lenny, he's got a really wide variety of choices here. This long third sector gives him his options. But when do you reckon he's going to go there? But he's got at least 4 corners to try and make this work. When do you reckon he's going to go out to try and get that jump on the chasing back behind?
It's surely got to be just before the final corner. He knows that the people on the softs may attack near the end. Of course, they're so far behind, but on new tyres compared to the old hards, they still have a chance. So he's got to go as late as possible. Make sure the soft tyres have got the least amount of time to attack. But we'll see what he does. We'll see. But I think personally he'll go quite late. But safety car now comes into the pit lane. And we'll just see how it goes. And he seems like he's gone early. He's gone very early, actually. Not even near the final few corners yet. He's coming through the middle of the third sector. Is he now? Still under, obviously, the yellow flag conditions. Can't overtake until past the start-finish line. And that's quite late on in the straight. So let's have a look then as they're now out of the final corner. Verstappen now leads away onto lap 9.
But Jojo completely matched his restart then. And Verstappen didn't disguise it too well, so Jojo is right with him. Miami didn't quite come through as well though, and now Toxic is going to be on the attack. And of course Toxic needs every single bit of time that he can find in this race if he wants to keep that championship. Try and wrap it up this race. He's going to the inside of turn 3. That's risky, and it's half-hearted though. And Miami shuts the door and holds on to P3 still. Jojo, R4 Jojo chasing QVR Verstappen in. Going on to the Mistral straight. They get a battle further down the road. We've got Manti. He gets through on Nolan and Burner back as well. Campbell trying to make progress. Can he maybe get up the field then and claw back some points? Lena Day here in France then. Looks like it's all going to hold station to Jojo's got a good run though for Verstappen towards the braking zone for turn 8 and then Toxic going for Miami to the inside now. He's getting squeezed by Miami on the inside lane. But still, the HWA car holds on to the place. And now Sweet Crown as well was attacking on the rear wing of Toxic, but Toxic is going to come again now. To the inside of the turn 10, can he get through this time? He's going to draw alongside now. Get the inner lane at turn 11, then they fight for the apex. Who's going to come in on top here now? To the inside, Toxic trying to get through. Round the outside, Miami. He's squeezed down, and now Sweet Crown gets alongside the worst. Turns off, he's up to the white lane on the outside. Aggressive defense of Miami. Through goes Toxic to P3 though. Miami gave it everything, couldn't quite hold it back, but now that it's allowed, the front two to put breakaway. 1.4 seconds the gap. Toxic I don't think we'll be able to get up for them, at least challenge. So now it's up to Verstappen and Jojo. Verstappen with no penalties though has this race win in hand for the moment.
Yeah, all that Verstappen needs to do is happening at the moment. Obviously, Toxic's got nothing to lose at the moment as Verstappen sets the fast lap of the race then. Obviously, trying to push Zhao to the limits as well. Make him make mistakes. It's the only thing he can do is Campbell now sets the fast lap of the race. Rocco picks up a 3-second penalty. And, yep, get ready for a few streams of penalties in the final few laps as the race gets very much more aggressive than a Sweet Crown. Right in the back of Miami is looking to make some inroads on the top 3 then.
Yeah, he's got, at the moment, a good chance of getting a podium, actually. Yes, occupying a podium place at the moment. So further back, the Matt 240. He moves past NSX Rocco. You can see the extra tire grab coming through, but look at Sweet Crown now. He's got Miami all lined up. Now heading towards the Mistral chicane for the penultimate time of the evening. Now Sweet Crown gets alongside down the straight. Actually, Jojo going for the lead first. Verstappen stuck on the outside line. Through goes Jojo. And now Sweet Crown can't get through this time. Miami will hold on to it. Coming out of turn 9. He will preserve the place, but Jojo is through. Gets the race lead, but 3 seconds of penalties, and Verstappen is in the same position Campbell was last race. Just stick behind. Just keep patient. As now Campbell and Rocco now going into turn 10. Campbell doesn't quite get through. Rocco will hold back for the time being. Then Nolan and Noon going at it. And actually, it's 10 getting the bow over. He tried to get through on the inside line. Now Nolan to Noon going for the Apex in turn 12, but I think this time Nolan will get through. Noon is still pressuring him in a 12. Nolan will cover it off then to the inside line. Noon can't get through. Can he? He runs right around the outside. He's going to get squeezed onto the curb alongside now the ART going for turn 14 side by side now. Who's going to come in on top here now to the outside? Hexel trying to get through up the road then. Rocco and Campbell. Rocco gets in the 9th place just about then. Campbell trying to reclaim it, can't get through then. They're all battling lane today. Last lap of the race. Jojo leads Verstappen. Verstappen though could just keep out as Campbell going at it again. Lenny on Rocco right down the inside of turn 1 then. Can he get through a turn 2? Yes, he can. At last Campbell died trying to move through, but with a penalty to his name and a gap in front, I don't think Campbell's getting any higher than that. Then he can try and get the gap to the cars behind, but Campbell now P9, but I think that's all he's getting from this race.
He's just having a little bit of fun on the softs. You can't blame him. He's got no championship fight to really pursue it though. He's just having a little bit of fun. He's got the win on the feature race. He's got his bragging rights, and let's see what he can do with only a few corners to go then. Only 9 to go then on this final lap of the race then, as Matt 240's on the back of Larkin, side by side up ahead between Sweet Crown and Miami as well. Sweet Crown down the inside, and also that is Sweet Crown getting us 3 second, and Larkin going off the track as Matt 240 tries to get past. They're still battling to and fro then, and it looks like maybe around the outside into turn 10. This will be an audacious move. He can pull this off, and still side by side, it seems like Larkin potentially has this, but let's have a look at the grip difference into 11, and it seems like Larkin's done a good defensive job there, keeping himself ahead of Matt then, as we now come into the final sector of the final lap.
Yeah, Jojo leads the way, he's away, and Connor still battles further down the order. You mentioned Campbell trying to have fun at the end. He moves past Zerman then late in the day through turn 12. Will get past the car, but will look back up to the front. Jojo, he's had such a good debut, but penalties cost him dearly, and he's going to run to the line at P1 on track. But at the moment, to the line, Verstappen will come through P1 in the end and inherits it. Where does Toxic end up? He needs a top 5 to stay in the championship, but too many penalties. He's going to drop back in the championship, I believe, will go forth into the final round of the season. Verstappen just about did enough, but he is certainly on the fringes of it. Toxic still with one hand on the trophy. Driver of the day for that race does go to Exo Larkin in the end. We're going to get the results all in for you then. The safety car threw everything in the works. What a dramatic race that we had to end that off. Starting off in the wet dry, had a safety car. But when the dust settled, it was this man, QVR Verstappen. It crossed P1. Jojo holds on to P2. Jojo, you have to commend this man. What a debut that he's had. A double podium. Stellar performance. And also on the podium there was Miami. He had a good evening as well, as it turns out. He stands alongside these two, and that is going to be it for the action out on track here tonight. Let's run through the results then. Verstappen wins, Jojo P2, Miami P3. Good race for HWA. Larkin 4th from 13th. great drive from him. Zerma as well, P5 for P12. You can see the keeping it clean when avoiding the penalties. What it's done for some of these drivers. Sweet Crown moved through Miami on the last lap, but the penalty cost him. He slips to 6th in the end. Nunes P7 from Campbell in P8, then scrappy race for Campbell. 9th goes to Matthew 40. Nolan rounds at the top 10 for pole position. What could have been. Rocco's P11. Penalties for Toxic. You can see the effect that they had. He gets P12 and costs him that chance of staying in the championship. We'll see if he maybe gets some of those penalties removed. Who knows? 10 can rounds at the finishers. Chill and Lando this time. Didn't see out the checkered flag. That is it for tonight. The championship will just go down to the last round. Great night of racing yet again, and now we look forward now for the season finale next week, coming to you from Austria. Can't wait to get that one underway. The championship's still up in the air, but you have to say that Toxic is still a firm favourite going in.
Well, yeah, exactly. I just saw that even with that 5 seconds removed, he still wouldn't get any points. So there's no real point getting it removed unless he wants a little bit of oh, I didn't finish outside the top 10. But anyway, yeah, it was a really interesting race there. Every single basically permutation happened, and we had a really good start to that race. And obviously on the hards in the wet, that would have been something for the drivers to really combat then.
Yeah, that race provided a fascinating dynamic, and we'll see when we get more of that, because I do remember as well that last season in Australia we had a mental sprint race, which also had wet weather and a constant ebbing and flowing battle for the race lead. We'll see if that one is going to come through yet again. Would be a great season finale, no doubt about that. Coming to you quickly, Lenny. Also, just for me, it's been an absolute pleasure commentating alongside you yet again. But one final question from me: who would you say would be your driver of the day? I think I know who you're going to go for, but what's your pick here for tonight?
I'm not sure who you thought I would go for.
Okay.
Do you think there's a standout?
I think there's a standout, but all right.
I think probably I'd say Miami. I'd say he's had two very good races, two very clean races, and I maybe it's a little bit of an underdog driver of the day, but for me, I feel like it's a well deserved. He's had two very good races, and you can't take it away from him. He's stayed within the top 8, just kept it clean, and he's done well.
Yeah, I mean, Miami's certainly a very good shout just for maximisation, as he always seems to do, of his potential. He's still in a hunt for, I believe, a top 5 in the championship standings, and he certainly will be after that race. For me, I'm inclined to go with Zhao Zhao, actually, just because it's a debut. We know how quick he is, but he really got adapted very quickly and fought for the victories in both races, which no other driver managed to do. So, but I can definitely see the argument for Miami. But I think that's going to be just about it for tonight. Of course, keep an eye out for more content from League of Europe over the course of the week. Friday, we're going to be having our F1 PC League and, of course, our ACC League on both PC and PS4, and then our PS4 F1 leagues, all 5 divisions, on a Saturday night. Be sure to be tuning in for that. And of course, next week's season finale at the Austrian round. Keep an eye out for that. It is going to be a stellar show. There is no doubt about that. But I think that is just about everything said and done for tonight. So, with everything now in the books for this penultimate round of the season, I've been Daniel Hoggard. He has been Lenny Saville alongside me. And until next time, we'll see you later.